Welcome to the conclusion of what has been a very wonderful interview with Stephen Pearlman of Haberdashery fame. You just mentioned where you're trying to go, the mood you're trying to create with Tonight the Angels, and we spent a few moments a little bit ago talking about how Vamp was, in its most basic terms, a breakup record. Do you consider yourself somebody who works conceptually? Like, do the things that come out, do you consider them concept albums, or is that the case with every album, or have some of the albums just been like, well, this is a collection of songs?
No, it's never been just a collection. They're always concept albums from the beginning. Usually there's a little kernel of an idea and it kind of develops into something, but they always end up revolving around, one or two really basic themes, and I think that when I'm writing lyrics especially, that's just what they gravitate towards. They all seem to kind of either flow into each other and out of each other, or they could be kind of, thought of as, a progression, like a story from beginning to end. It's not always necessarily chronological, but they definitely have something in common. It's not just a disparate collection of tracks that I've put together. They always have some kind of underlying concept or undercurrent.
Do you ever listen to the concept albums of others and get ideas from them? Like a Tears for Fears, Seeds of Love, or a Pet Sounds, or a Sgt. Pepper's?
Actually, I think probably the concept album that has moved me and informed me the most was Radiohead's OK Computer.
Absolutely.
I think that as far as like from beginning to end,
when you're first listening to that record, when you're first listening to OK Computer, you don't get hit in the head with the concept right away. You're sort of just listening to the melodies and listening to the chord progressions and such. So
right, but it's like you said, it's not clear from the beginning, and
you really have to dive into it.
It kind of like bubbles under the surface a little bit, and you kind of get a sense of it. But by the end of the whole album, you kind of just take a deep breath and go, wow.
So you had mentioned earlier that the 2010 EP series was to give the fans sort of an indication of your working process. Is there another reason behind the EPs?
Not really. The only other thing I wanted to be able to do was have an outlet for other remixers to be able to release work. While I'm not releasing singles, I mean, there's going to be opportunities for lots of different kind of like B-side projects to come out of this. You tend not to go back and listen to your stuff to not get bogged down in the past and be able to allow yourself change. What are you finding that for you specifically this process is doing? It's actually been really liberating. In the past, I don't think I can remember a time that I've ever let anyone hear a demo of my stuff, And so now it's like, when I thought of doing this, releasing really super rough, unpolished kind of conceptual ideas of songs, making mistakes all over the place, and things are unfinished, and ideas that haven't quite been all developed all together. It's been really really liberating and kind of really exciting to me to put stuff out there in its unfinished state. We've got some questions from Allie in Los Angeles. She loves that you're open to collaborating with different remix artists, and she's wondering how a beginning remixer/fan might go about getting permission from you to remix one of your songs. As far as permission goes, I think that I'd give anybody permission to remix my music. I think it's such a wonderful way to kind of hear the music in a different light, is to have somebody else work on it. All the remix artists that I've worked with so far have been people that I've come in contact with in the synth pop community online, and there's people from all over the world who I'll give just the raw tracks of the pure vocals with nothing else, and then all the instrumentation broken down into their components so that they can hear it, and then they turn it into something totally new and unique, which I think is amazing. So everybody comes from such a really different viewpoint as far as music goes that I've had such different interpretations of these songs. I think it's just wonderful to hear everybody's take on it. I've loved every single one. Well, we can move on to another question from Alan,
who notes that songwriting comes fairly easy to some people, and it is a very laborious process for others. Basically, where do you fall in that spectrum? And when you're getting your inspiration for the writing, where does it come from?
I think I'm kind of right in the middle. Sometimes it's really easy and songs just kind of come really naturally, and other times I really find that I have to really concentrate and labor over some of them. But I mean, the best thing is when the song kind of takes over and just writes itself. As far as like structuring the song itself, just kind of see what comes out, what I'm feeling at the time.
Do you find that, or is this sort of a toss-up depending on the song, is it more difficult to come up with the lyrics or the music, or does it switch off?
Actually, the way I write, the lyrics are more often than not informed by the chords and the song,
right,
because I always write the music first and the lyrics later.
Sure.
So I think depending on the mood of the chord progression and the kind of like structure of the song, that really has a lot to do with the way the lyrics end up coming out.
So back to the inspiration, where do you find it?
Well, I mean, for the most part, it's my own life, my life experience. But I also have been, influenced to a large extent by, some philosophers and poets that I've, been reading for a long time, Rilke and Heidegger, and they both kind of give me a lot of ideas of, where to start songwriting. And for the most part, I just, for as long as I can remember, this is all I've ever wanted to do.
And I'm looking forward to the rest of the, let's see, we have to get through Dashery. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to Tonight the Angels.